Okay, so let's just start with so our today's topic is business analysis for Agile projects. So we lot of people talk about Agile, and people generally misunderstood Agile as a Scrum. Agile is a bigger umbrella. So that's why before starting today, so the first slide, let's discuss first about agenda. So this will be our agenda for today's webinar, overview of Agile, traditional versus Agile approach. Why Agile? What is Agile philosophy? What makes Agile Agile? Agile methodology in nutshell, very brief intro, right? And why business analyst in Agile? Because here, we are focusing more on the role of a business analyst in Agile setup of the teams. So what all activities a BA do in Agile teams and different team organization for business analyst in Agile atmosphere. What all challenges he faced generally in the Agile environment, and a case study. And then obviously we'll take your questions. Okay, so as I was telling that Agile, so a lot of people, misunderstood Agile as Scrum. Scrum is a part of Agile itself. So, but Agile is a bigger umbrella where different kind of way of following Agile are there. Like XP is there, Scrum is there, Kanban is there, lean approach is there. So Agile is an umbrella term for several iterative and incremental software development methodologies. So we do the things in Agile in shorter, time box periods and give some productive value to the business in iterative manner. So when Agile was getting conceptualized, so Ken Schwaber was one of the person who was among those guys who actually conceptualize or lay down the Agile principle. So as per him, Agile process is based on empirical approach, accepting the complexity of the problem and addressing it through frequent inspection and constant adaptation. I will come on the definition little later, that why this is an empirical approach and why he's telling that accepting the complexity of the problem. Okay, so Agile approaches help team respond to unpredictability through incremental iterative work cadence known as sprints. It is the same what Ken Schwaber has told, just put it in different words over here. Okay, so here we will talk about what Ken Schwaber was telling. So if you will see on screen, the first one is traditional approach. We all know how we do the development in waterfall method. So there is a 5 steps we need to follow, means one after another. So if we will have any project, so first we do the requirement analysis, and then we need to create the architecture for that solution. It means create the solution, and that is designing, and then real development we do the coding, and then testing, and then deployment. So what's the problem in that traditional approach is, suppose you are in development phase, you are somewhere here, and the business requirement change, and project has already moved to 7th or 8th month or probably 1 year, and in this stage, if client want to change something, it's very difficult because he need to raise a CR. It's a whole process in waterfall method, and he need to pay extra cost for that. But in Agile approach, it's little different. So if you will see, it's like there are several time box events, and every sprint is I have written that it is a mini waterfall, but it's basically not a mini waterfall. It's kind of mini waterfall, because when we talk about the small iteration, so yes, we do follow all these steps, but there is one more thing which is little different in Agile, that is this step, testing. So generally in Agile, how we do the testing, while starting the development, uh, we start writing the test cases also in most of the cases. So why writing test cases beforehand only? It is kind of test driven development. That requirements are clear, that it's a short set of requirements, so it has been decided like, let's start writing the test cases and do the development based to satisfy those test cases. So it is a for sure, development, that after when we will finish our time box event of sprint, it will be a deliverable which will definitely provide the business value. So just to make sure that we are providing the value to the business, this is the step we have taken. So generally in sprints in Agile, it is like 2 to 4 weeks per sprint we generally follow. So some companies follow two weeks sprint, some companies follow 3 weeks, some companies follow 4 weeks, but it depends on their adaptability of Agile and their project, their product, different things. So it depends on like how, while implementing Agile, so how the consultant perceive the situation in the organization. So he suggests that, okay, you follow 3 weeks sprint, and it's trial and error. So after 2 or 3 sprints, they will come to know what is the best for the organization to follow. Okay, so this is what actually Ken Schwaber was trying to say. So if you will see over here, there are two axes, requirements and technology. So known to unknown, known to unknown. So there is one scenario when requirements are unknown and technology is very difficult. So in that sense, if we will follow waterfall method, so before going into the design and coding phase, we need to wait for clarifying the technology, clarifying the requirement. We can move ahead. So in that case, in these kind of projects where the requirements are not clear in the beginning, and the technology might be, people are sure or not sure, but the requirement which we need to execute are not clear. So these are very complex projects, we can say. And in this case, if we will go through Agile approach, so Agile, in Agile approach, we don't need to wait till all the requirements set will be very clear. It is something like, we have a small set of requirement which is clear, but we don't know the whole set of requirements. So as an Agile team, what we do, let's go ahead and execute this much set of requirement, and parallelly we will explore the next set of requirement for the same project. So we can still start the project, but that was not possible in waterfall method. So that's why means it is very handy to handle complex projects, and lot of other benefits I will discuss in the coming slides. So this is Agile philosophy. So this is how when we follow Agile in an organization. So what is the mindset? What all things need to be kept in mind while following Agile? So individuals and interactions over processes and tools. So if you remember, in waterfall, in lot of instances were there, the people who are actually developing the project, or the developers, I will say, in most of the times they were getting unnoticed. They were not getting the proper recognition for their work. It's lot of challenges were there for them. They were just following what project manager is telling. But here, the individuals and interaction is pretty high, like, because in Agile we prefer that the team is co-located and team is self-organized. So it's more interaction between the team as they are sitting together, and they are capable of taking the decision. They have a lot of things in their hand to decide that who will do what. They themselves decide that which particular requirement they need to take it forward for development. These requirements are clear, but that was not the case in waterfall, because it was mostly done on the middle level management and pass it to the development team. Okay, then so the next is working software over comprehensive documentation. So people say that in Agile there is no documentation. So many people got misunderstood with like when we talk about the documentation, but that is not the case. Yes, we know that in waterfall there were a lot of documentation was there, but in Agile we do documentation, but it is only the required documentation. It is not excess documentation. So if you have heard in lean method, I'm not talking only about software. It's as in general lean methodology. How we progress any execution and we remove the unnecessary things in the process. So it's the same like while doing Agile. So initially, if you are coming from waterfall mindset, there are a lot of documentation, you will figure it out. But over the period of time, you have to remove all those unnecessary documentation, unnecessary process. And what is more important over here is working software. Working software is the business value which you are providing each and every time box event to the business. Actually, business is interested in that only. Next is customer collaboration over contract negotiation. So this is very important for the client purpose. So in waterfall, if you remember, we have a complete change request process. Client need to come, if they want to change anything in between the project, they need to submit a request. They need to, they will get estimate of that change request, and that change request will go to PMO. PMO will analyze that, they will approve it or reject it. If it will get approved, then they will pass it on, and they will raise the invoice for the customer. But in Agile, it is little different. In Agile, we say you are always welcome. Means there is too much communication. Customer is always aware what's going on as per the development, because he is part of he's expected to be part of daily development meetings and all. So it's not like he will be engaged a whole day. It's just 15 minutes daily catch up, which he's expected to be there, so that he will be aware what's going on in the team. And about this change request, so if there is anything in between coming to as a change, so definitely Agile teams always welcome the change. And yes, there is a time box event, so they don't take anything like let me go to this slide. Okay, so this is one time box event, and if customer is coming somewhere between here, if it is 2 weeks sprint and customer is coming up in between the sprint, so how Agile teams take these changes? They will take this change in the next sprint, but they will not disturb this sprint. It is a time box event. But yes, they are very much willing to take up the change over whatever they have. It's not like they are following a very straightforward plan, because initially the whole requirement set, definitely it was not clear, so it cannot be possible. So whatever change is coming, they are very adaptable as an Agile team. I will discuss a little bit more on this, how Agile teams take the change in this slide. So what makes Agile Agile? It's a big question. So in Agile, why it is Agile? Because it focuses on what is important. What is important means what is important for business, what is important for stakeholders. So that's why there are certain terms in Agile which are very important, like time to market. If you are developing a project, so if you are following Agile, you can reduce the time to the market for a product, because you are executing the requirement in shorter iteration, and every iteration you are providing the business value. So you can actually release the product into the market in very less time, and that was absolutely not possible in waterfall, if you are following waterfall. So second one is welcome the changes, because you certainly don't want to continue working on something that is obsolete or unnecessary. Because somewhere, if you are developing a project or product, it can be always possible that initially the requirements were not clear, and in between of the project, those requirements got changed. So however, change has an impact, and you have to give up something. So it's like, you know, rule of life. If you want to get something, you have to lose something. So that's what I was talking about in my last slide. So 4 factors of Agile: time, money, scope, and quality. So suppose customer will come in between the project and will say, okay, we want to change certain set of requirements. So you have some, you know, 10 requirements in your product backlog. So customer is coming, okay, you need to take this requirement also in your backlog. So what as an Agile team you will do? Okay, so we are not changing time, we are not changing money, we are changing scope, we are, you know, means like, you know, quality is always, you know, the priority. So only scope we are changing, and like there are some story or the requirement in the product backlog which is, you know, having means as per Agile team it is having some weightage of 10 or 20. The similar kind of requirement get replaced in the product backlog with this new requirement. So it is on client what is more important for him, this new requirement he want to execute or the already existing requirements in the product backlog. Little tricky over here. So what I will repeat myself again. So if there are 10 requirements in a product backlog and client will come this 11th requirement, so he will say, okay, now this is my priority. So Agile team will say, okay, let's take this particular requirement, this 11th requirement, but we need to remove one similar weightage of requirement from our backlog. So in that case, Agile team will not charge more money to the client, not more time. Scope, it is little bit tweaked as per client's priority or as per client's requirement, and quality is intact. So Agile team has accepted the change also, and they are properly responding to the change. They are responding to, you know, client's request, and there is still, you know, client is happy, okay, his change got accepted, and there is no long procedure or no extra invoice for the client in, you know, while executing this change. Okay, so this is something kind of, you know, very I try to put it in very nutshell about how you know, in Agile we execute the things. So as you know, initially, you know, project planning is there, initial product backlog, PBL is product backlog, initial product backlog is there. So initial product backlog, what do I mean by initial product backlog? Because initially when we start complex projects, we don't know the exact requirement set, or we don't have the clarity of the complete requirement set. for that project. So that is only initial product backlog, initial whatever we know. So initial release plan. So it is something like as per client wish, when they want what, they are very much well aware about how much is clear as per the requirement. So based on that, there is some plan we lay down in the start of the project, like when they want what, and definitely stakeholders buy in. So all these things are very generic things to start a project in Israel, and definitely assembling a team. So this is again a very interesting topic, assembling a team. So I don't know, means you have heard about forming, norming, this forming a team, and then next stage is storming in the team, and then norming, then performing. So this is a process that how a team get assembled, or how we made a team in software environment. It's a very interesting topic actually itself. Okay, so let's come to our agenda. Okay, so after all these steps, we have initial set of product backlog, we have initial set of requirement, we have assembled the team. So how we do? We start our sprint planning. So this is something, it's the whole circle is a time box event. So time box events is something like, as I have told, it could be 2 weeks, it could be 3 weeks or 4 weeks, not more than 4 weeks, otherwise it will lose its charm. So before starting any project in Israel, so we say that is sprint 1, sprint 2, but before sprint 1, there is one sprint 0. So what do we do in this sprint 0? So we have initial set of requirements. So what we do in sprint 0, we discuss those requirements with the team, and means team will get a feel of like what they are going to develop. So initially, generally when we do any sprint planning, not a sprint planning, when we discuss or analyze the requirements in sprint 0, so we try to make clear the requirements for the next 2 sprints. So if we are in sprint 0, so we try to clarify the requirement till sprint 2 execution. So this clarification should be enough for sprint 1 and sprint 2. Generally, this is how we follow in Israel. So if you are in sprint 1, then whatever discussions you are having in the team, so that means as a business analyst, you should make sure that team should have the requirement clarified for next 2 sprints. So if you are in sprint 1, then sprint 2 and sprint 3 requirement, generally this business analyst will work. Okay, so here the sprint planning. Initially, so sprint planning is nothing like we have a big product backlog. So out of that product backlog, we check that what all are the priorities for the product and what all we can take in particular sprint. So suppose in product backlog there are 100 requirements, so we will take suppose only 10 requirement to execute in this particular sprint. Okay, now the next is daily sync up. So it is daily sync up is it's like daily meeting with your teammates, so where everybody will be there, like developers will be there, your business analyst will be there, your scrum master will be there, your business, if they wish, they can also be part of this particular discussion. But what is the purpose of this daily sync up is, I will say, to say hello to each other and to just discuss, like in old times we used to do, people used to meet up at morning tea and discuss what they have done yesterday and what is the plan for they are planning to do today. So that is all discussion here, very informal, or Means it depends on the organizational structure, that how they want to, take it up. But it is just like what they have done the previous day, what they are going to do today, and is there any impediment, because whole team is sitting in this meeting. So probably somebody will be able to help in case of any obstacle is there, any impediment is there for any particular team member. Next is build product increment. So that is build product increment is nothing but the development. So in Agile we have cross-functional teams. So they are this is something like whatever we have taken the sprint backlog over here. Suppose 10 requirements. So this is something like we are executing those requirements. Okay. So next is a sprint demo. So sprint demo is. Sprint demo is like whatever we have built, we have developed during our sprint. So we are just showcasing it to the stakeholders, where business analysts will be there, where if the stakeholders or business side people wants to see that how their project or product is getting shaped, so they can come and see. So in practical scenario, if suppose you are following 2, 3, or 4 weeks sprint, in practical scenario, in most of the cases, it might not be possible to provide an increment every sprint which is able to be released to the market, but it will be a business increment. So what I mean to say, if in your sprint arrangement, probably after fourth sprint of 2 weeks, 2 weeks post sprint, you might be able to release a product to the market with basic, basic functionalities and all. But every sprint, business need to know. So whatever you are delivering over here, that how close we are towards that market releasable product. That is business increment or product increment. So you can see as after this sprint demo, so what I have written is potentially shippable product increment. Okay, so we have shipped some increment of the product, a small increment towards our business feasibility. So now next meeting is sprint retrospective. So sprint retrospective is nothing like like every day we work, and in evening we think that what we have done today and how we can improve ourselves. So this is something like in a sprint, at end of a sprint, so all the team members sit together, everybody is there, and everybody tell that what went well for this particular time box event, how we can improve it, what all we can take it up, what all things we need to remove from our process. So it's something like a lot of things we are following here. We are following linear, we are following Kanban here, we are following Scrum here. But as an Agile guy, we are just meeting together and discussing how we can optimize ourselves towards more progressive productivity. Now, product backlog update. The next one is, because in between, if something got changed or something got clear, like initially we didn't have all the requirements clarified. So in between, business analysts figure out, okay, some requirements, he got some inputs and he clarified those requirements. So this product backlog need to be updated. All the priority of the requirement, all the priorities of the product backlog need to be revisited again, and to check what all are more important now. So I think it is clear. So if there is any question on Agile methodology, we can take it up at the end in Q&A section. Okay, so this is very important, and main crux of this our discussion is why business analyst in Agile. So, business analyst, I'm working in Agile team for about 7 years, and I found that business analyst is a person. He or she takes most of the time more pain than anybody in the team. So why he takes more pain? Because when we talk about developers, so the developers have a certain mindset. They, have a different kind of mindset. They are techies. They are not the diplomatic people, or who will very good in communication and all. So they have a different mindset. So while taking the requirement from the client or from the stakeholders, we need a guy who understands the domain and who is little political also, who is good in defining the requirements. So there, a business analyst come into the picture. So in Israel, you might have heard a term PO, product owner. So a product owner or business analyst, in most of the 99% cases in Agile team, it's the same guy. So he's actually bridge between the stakeholders and the team. So he's talking to the stakeholders, taking the requirement, laying down the requirement in the product backlog, and explaining those requirements to the team. It's kind of because when we talk about stakeholders or the customer, it's my experience that in most of the cases they don't know exactly what they want. They have the idea, a very uh, broad idea that I need something like this. They are not sure what exactly they want. So where uh, in these kind of situation, a business analyst help him in conceptualize what exactly he wants and lay down the requirement. So if you will see in this, I have made that stakeholder buy-in in our initial steps. So here, stakeholder buy-in. So he discuss with client what exactly he's having in mind and jot down the requirement as per his thoughts or vision, and pass it to the team. And this guy, a business analyst, define that what will be the user acceptance criteria, because he is more closer to the business. He knows better about client's feeling, about client's requirement, and you cannot expect it definitely from a development team. And at the end of the day, when we talk about a business analyst, it's not only the laying down the requirement, it is kind of an analysis required. Because when I talk about a business analyst, I see a domain expert. So he should be a domain, he should be very well versed about his or her domain knowledge, so that when he will lay down the requirement, he will be able to analyze those requirements from every angle. If there will be any if we are executing any particular requirements, so what could all be the challenges associated with it, what all it or how it can impact the existing development. If we are in middle of any project, so if we are taking any requirements, so how it will impact the existing code or existing development, or what means, is there any challenge, technical challenge, domain challenge, different kind of challenge could happen. So this is where business analysts come into the picture. Yeah, Deepak, you can type it uh, in IM window. Okay, so here, okay, okay. So here there is a very good question. Deepak has pasted. Okay, he want to know that the scenario, if a BA works for multiple domains, how should he take up the things? So I will say, see, multiple domains. When I talk about the domain expertise of business analyst, so I will say there are two kind of business analyst in industry practically. So there are the projects which are very much technology sensitive or domain sensitive. If you talk about the healthcare, so healthcare, they have their terms and conditions, they have their own norms which people should know before executing the requirement in healthcare domain. If somebody is in BI domain, business intelligence domain, there are specific things technically he should know, otherwise he cannot execute the requirements. There are certain places, like I will say in e-commerce industry, it's not very hard and fast that a BA should be very well versed in domain. It is more of because in e-commerce things are changing daily, so he should be very well aware about the changes. And as per your question, Deepak, like if some BA is handling two domains, so first of all, it is expected that if somebody is PO or the business analyst for any particular agile team, so he should stick to that team only. So it means he should handle only one project in ideal scenario. But in practical scenario, it can be possible he or she will be engaged in more than two projects, and the situation is very complex that he is handling two different projects in two different domains. So he need to define his priorities. It's not an ideal situation, I will say, Deepak. It's it should not be the case for a company that they will engage a BA for two different domains and expect him to lay down the requirement for two different projects. But you never know in practical scenario that could be the possibility in a company. So here it's more on a business analyst that he need to define his priorities, because see, he need to connect with two different kind of stakeholders. So he himself need to define his priorities, that when he will work on which project. Okay. Okay, so Deepak, I think I have like to your question. So let's move ahead. So activities what we do in agile teams. So yes, scope of the system. So a BA or a PO define the requirements for a project. He translates the business needs. He translates technical issues. He model and document. So document, when we talk about the document, again the same thing. It's not the comprehensive documentation. It is the documentation whatever is very much required.
Abhishek here. Your screen sharing has stopped. We can't see your PPT.
Oh, Abhishek, 1 minute. Please let me know once you will be able to see my screen.
Yes, I can see it now.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I was telling about the documentation. So business analysts lay down the requirement, take the requirement, model the requirement, translate the business needs, and put it into the product backlog to execute. And he is, as I have told, he's a bridge between the stakeholders and the team. So he is a communication broker. So if team want to communicate something to the stakeholder, they have certain queries, or stakeholders want to communicate to the team. So it's something like he is the person in between, which facilitate any, if any direct discussion is required, of the stakeholders and the team, or any information or any queries need to be passed on. So he's the person who is playing the bridge between stakeholders and the team. Test and validation. So this guy, as we discussed, that this guy is more closer to the business. So he knows better about the requirements. So he write the user acceptance test cases. So if after any particular execution of iteration, so team has produced certain results, so he will make sure that this particular development should pass these user acceptance test cases. Otherwise, the stakeholders will not accept this deliverable. Okay, so he represents stakeholders. So, like when we talk about the stakeholders, it could be the sales guys, it could be the marketing guy, it could be, some outside company client. So he or she cannot be, available for the team every day in most of the cases. So here, this guy, a business analyst, will connect with this actual client who is generating the requirement and pass it to the team. So he is kind of a proxy for the real requirement generator. So in a way, he represents the stakeholders. Okay, so these are the three different team organization which are very typical in software industry. Like one room is where developers, stakeholders are co-located, so it's a direct access of dev team, or our business analyst can directly go and talk to the stakeholders. They are sitting at the same in the same office. They can, anytime they can go and talk and clarify the requirement. If there is any meeting required, it can be arranged immediately. If there is anything need to be discussed, it can be done on very short notice period. So that is, one room is something like in Israel we say the ideal situation, where everybody is co-located and executing the requirement towards some bigger deliverables. Next setup is, as we come down, so the challenges will get increased. So next one is over the wall. So single location but not co-located. So it is something like an office is having two buildings, and dev team is sitting in one building, stakeholders are sitting in another building. So the challenges are more to catch stakeholders for any particular requirement clarification and all. He cannot be always present for the daily sync up meetings or daily scrum meetings, or he cannot be always available to clarify the requirement, but he is somehow in the next building. So it can be possible for a BA will arrange a meeting probably with one or two developers. He will set up a meeting with the stakeholders, go to the next building and discuss the pending queries. They will collect the queries beforehand, going to the stakeholders, like 10 queries they have noted down, go to the stakeholder, clarify all the requirement and come back. So it's not ideal situation, but yes, that can be manageable as stakeholders is available somehow in next building. So he is reachable face to face, he can give the answers. Next one is across the network. It's very challenging and very common in IT industry. So first two, I will say, okay, they are good. First one is very ideal, but in practical scenario in IT industries, you know, for MNCs, most of the time your team is distributed, your stakeholders is something sitting in third country. It's like, you know, half of your team is sitting in India, half of your team is sitting in US, and means somewhere in Europe your stakeholder is. So to coordinate between, you know, all these parties is a challenge. But at the end of the day, we need to, you know, overcome these challenges. So for that, you need to, you know, while executing in Israel, you need to uh, you need to, you know, set up certain guidelines for stakeholders, for team members, like during your, you know, I will say the daily sync up, what time the daily sync up. So it's a lot of planning required in third case, where, you know, business analyst and scrum master need to juggle too much to reduce the churn. So they will set up a time for daily sync up where stakeholder will also be able to join in some time, and, you know, all the team members should be able to come in one meeting and discuss the same questions, like how I have told earlier, what they have done the previous day, what they are going to do next day, and is there any impediment, is there any clarification required, or is there any input required from BA, where, or any impediment where BA or Scrum Master can help team to progress or fulfill, you know, what they have promised. Okay, so these are the challenges, generic challenges what a business analyst face in a, you know, different setup, different organizational setup in Israel environment, like scope trading. So scope trading is nothing but like how I have discussed in between. Client came with a requirement change, and he will say that, okay, this is now my priority. You need to take this 11th requirement as a priority. So as a business analyst or the product owner, you will say, okay, to the client, okay, we will take this particular new requirement, but we need to remove one scope item of similar weightage from the product backlog. So here the trading is happening, because client will say, no, I don't want to remove the earlier one. It is just a small requirement. Can't you accommodate it? So this trading, you know, it's a, I will say it's an art to trade with client, and make sure that company will not lose the money, and whatever earlier, you know, cost has been decided for the project, that should still justify after the trading. So next one is analysis churn. Analysis churn. So Deepak, as you have asked two different domains, so in that kind of situation, this analysis churn generally happen because two different domain, a single person will concentrate. So you can imagine kind of churn can happen, and not only in two different domains, even if it will be single domain, and the domain is very complex and requirements are very frequently changing. So that time it's a challenge for a BA role or for a business analyst to you know, maintain that kind of clarity, so that the work of development team will not get impacted. Offshore model is the third organizational setup, what I have discussed, like the distributed teams. So definitely a challenge, we have already discussed about it. So transition from traditional development is like when we any organization adopt Agile or start adopting Agile from waterfalls. It's very difficult to, you know, make people convince or change the mindset of the people. It's a human behavior that we always you know, we never want change as a human being. We restrict changes. So it's nothing new, but it's like Scrum Master and BA's role, where they convince the team that how they can get benefited out of following Agile. Slowly, team get the importance of it. But initially, it is always a challenge. Practically, I have seen it in teams. They always, they make some comfortable zone around them. In waterfall, if you will see, if you will talk about a developer, he just do what our project manager is telling to him to execute. And in Agile, the expectation is he should participate in sizing, in discussion of that particular requirement. So to come out from the previous mindset is a challenge. Not only for business analysts, it's a challenge for everybody. For the team member, for the Scrum Master, for business analyst, everybody is a challenge. But yes, the output is 100% good, I will say. What I experienced that initially hiccups are there, but at end of the day, once people will start getting the benefit of Agile, so they always like it, because the life and means work-life balance is very good in Agile setup. So domain knowledge, yeah, it's sometimes a challenge for technology savvy domains. If you are working in data warehouse, just for an example, so it's not that easy. Lot of new things always coming. You need to be very much updated. Stakeholder and communication management. So it's something like communication management. When we talk, is something like backbone of Agile success. So how a team communicate its progress to the stakeholders, to the management, and how they communicate their problems, their impediments, and get it resolved on daily basis. It's a very small iteration, like 2 weeks or 3 weeks iteration, and in that the team is doing a lot, so they need to communicate a lot. They need to be showcase what they are working, and all these demos, the Gantt charts you might have heard, those are the radiators of teamwork, or I will say the medium of communication in Agile setup. So now let's talk about one case study. So I have taken one hypothetical situation. It is very close to some practical scenario. It's about one company. So I just changed the name. So it has actually happened, something like that. So it's a software company. There is a software company, ABC Software, and they are a well-known software company. It's a matrix organization setup, and they are following waterfall since long. They have a good reputation in the market. They have all the processes in place, like for project communication, who will handle what, the CR process, change request process, the testing team, the testing process, how it will get, means any development will get built, how it will get deployed, how to handle the late delivery. And there are some complaints about late deliverables and all, but ABC, because it is having very good reputation in the market, and their sales team might be very, very strong. So they are always convince a customer about doing some price negotiation or something, and make client happy. Okay, it will get delayed 6 months, so we are just reducing some little bit cost, and client is also getting a loan. Probably not completely happy, but the company's reputation is like that. So what's the problem? So suddenly one day, a new software company, XYZ, came to the market, A startup came to the market to, and what they are promising. They are promising that 1/4 TTM, time to the market, for customer products. So any project we will get, XYG is telling any project we will get, we will deliver in 1/4 of the time what other software companies are delivering, or we will release it into the market. And what XYG is claiming, we will take no additional cost for any change request in between of the project. What as a client you want? What else? Clients are very happy. They are going to them. So ABC is not having any clue how XYG is sustaining. Means with these promises, they are not charging any change request. They are releasing the product or the project to the market in 1/4 time. How they are sustaining? But from market, it is looking like clients are getting attracted towards XYZ offerings. So now the problem is how ABC can retain its customer and its market repo intact, and what ABC should change at their end to match with market offering and customer expectations. So as we have already discussed about Agile, the solution is to change their way of doing the things. So it's just adapting Agile. So how they have done, so just a gist of their journey, how they have done. So Agile adaptation is a solution. So ABC hired one guy as their Agile consultant or coach. So it's a general, why I laid down these steps, because it's a generic process in an organization while adapting Agile. So there are a lot of other steps also, but I took it what are the focus points of any company's Agile transition journey. So ABC hired one consultant, Agile consultant or coach, and this consultant, what he has done the gap analysis for ABC for its current process and figure out the impediments for implementing Agile in the company. Because initially, it means it cannot be happen that the consultant or coach will come and start implementing the Agile. First, he wants to understand the company's culture, the impediments for any new implementation, not only for Agile, it's with every new implementation or transition in a company. A gap analysis need to be done, a SWOT analysis need to be done. So that's what this consultant has done for ABC. And he prepared a list of suggestions and presented to the management and convinced them. So always remember one thing: when we talk about Agile implementation in an organization, it should always be top to bottom. Top to bottom means first the top management should get convinced, then only the at team level people will get convinced. Because as I have told, as a human, we always hate the changes. We create a boundary, comfort zone around ourselves. We hate changes. So until and unless it will not come from top, it's very difficult for the success of Agile or anything, any implementation in any organization. So Andy prepared a list of suggestions and convinced the management for trying out to follow Agile for one of ABC's new client projects. So they have taken one client project and just for trial out. And ABC promised benefits to the client similar to XYZ software. They have not taken XYZ software company name, but they have promised a similar kind of benefits to the client. And with few terms and conditions, Andy has suggested, as I have told, like, okay, if they are changing the requirement in between, so they need to took out some requirement from the product backlog. So all these terms and conditions as an Agile coach, Andy has suggested to the company. Now Andy has assembled a team and he trained the resources to Agile, set up an Agile team for that particular single project. And this is some other points about Agile journey of ABC. So high level of user input and collaboration. So that has been set up by Andy, that he need customer inputs in daily sync up meetings. He need weekly meetings. In case of customer is not able to present in daily meetings, so at least once in a week he will come to the meeting and see team's progress, will answer the questions related to requirement if there is any. And like how we do in Agile, we generally maintain online backlog and online dashboard where client will be able to see from anywhere. He will be able to see what team is doing. Is there anything he can help? So all these are actually, I will say, the information radiators. He's always accessible in Agile. And okay, so experienced cross-functional development team, physically in the same room. So that is just mentioned as it's an ideal situation, the co-located team, experienced cross-functional team. So in Agile, we talk about cross-functional teams. So it means everybody knows everything, what's going on in a team. So they are, I will say, can handle multiple roles. A resource can handle multiple roles in Agile teams. So basically, it's a career development also. If somebody is working in Agile team, because he's knowing a lot of things which he can never imagine in waterfall setup. Next is bring users and developers together on specialized issues where features and implementations are closely intertwined. Task-driven development. So task-driven development, I have given a gist about task-driven development in Agile. So at the start of execution itself, we start writing the test cases and we do the development to satisfy these test cases, to make sure that our deliverables will be 100% satisfying to the promises what we have done in the start of sprint execution. Continuous integration with automated build and testing. So this depends on, different companies set up this particular automated build, and that depends on what all tools and technology company is using. But yes, continuous integration is a key of Agile, where, as we discussed, it's like, every iteration we are providing a kind of, contribution towards the working software. So once we will do continuous integration throughout our development of a sprint, so at end of the sprint or at near to our release, we will really measure that how close we are to our targets, what or milestones which we have decided at the beginning. Maintain product backlog, sprint backlog online with access given to the client, daily updates of the task at online tool. So this is again, organizational culture, but it is very good to follow these things. So radiator, just for an example, I have given burn down chart. There are few other radiators also. Final UAT done by business analyst and client before and after release. So like when we deploy any development, so before deployment there is a demo which or means our business analysts have written some, suppose 20 user acceptance criteria. So all those whatever team has developed, that product should pass those test acceptance criteria, and then only they will get, once they will get a sign off from business after passing all these UAT test cases. So they will go for release, and after release also there is a sign off required. Okay, everything is working live. So that there again, business stakeholder or business analyst or stakeholder role come. So before and after release, the sign off is required from business analyst and our stakeholders. So these are the results for ABC software. So after initial hiccups while adopting Agile, team successfully stabilized the sprint velocity from third iteration. So it's very practical situation that when you adopt Agile, so what is velocity? Velocity is nothing but how many story points a team is executing every sprint. So if team is executing 60 story points in, probably we will discuss about the story points in any other of our webinar, but story points are nothing more than a unit for the requirement. Like we say 1 kg rice, 1 or 2 kg this thing, 1 liter milk, and also liter, kg, these are the units for particular material. The similar kind of thing here in Agile, the story points. The story point is nothing but a measurement or unit for the requirements. So suppose a team is executing 60 story points in particular sprint. So if their velocity is stable, so while creating the sprint backlog, the team will take up only around 60 story points work to execute in next sprint, because they know their capacity, they can execute only 60 story points. So initially, when we set up an Agile team, it's very difficult to get what exactly the velocity of the team, as team is newly assembled. So after 1 or 2 or 3 sprints, generally teams come to know what is their velocity. And once the velocity is constant, it is very smooth execution in Agile. So next is self-organizing team structure gave more job satisfaction to the resources. So when we used to work in waterfall method, as a team member, we just got the work. Nobody asked, how are you? Or what do you think about this requirement? But here, it's self-organizing team. We are deciding who will do what as a team, and we are participating in requirement discussion, everything. Everywhere we are part of each and every step of the project. It's more satisfaction as a part of team, Agile team, I would say. ABC was able to fulfill all promises of early TTM, time to market, and welcoming the changes from the client mid-project without further price increase, as our business analyst has done a good trade-off with client. So there is no price increase and they accept the changes also. ABC retained their client and implemented Agile organization-wide. So if it was, because it was successful, so ABC has decided to follow Agile for all of their other projects also. So these are the challenges. It's not only for ABC software; it's for every company. These are the challenges while newly adapting the Agile. So initial Agile transitions of workspace arrangement, team mindset. So workspace arrangement is like, in waterfall setup, generally it doesn't matter that where team is sitting. Project manager knows he has given that work to the developers and they are doing at different places, sitting different places or not. But in Agile, as I have told, co-location is a key. It's very ideal situation if team can follow. So the arrangement of workspace, that changing the team mindset from waterfall to Agile, or if they are working in any other methodology they are following, bring them to Agile mindset. Team formation cycle time. So I was mentioning about it's a common cycle for assembling a team or team forming. So like forming, storming, norming, and performing, and stabilize the sprint velocity. So about this, probably we can discuss sometime later in any other of our webinar about team formation cycle, forming, storming, norming, performing. It's very wonderful and practical concept actually. So long meetings to daily 15 minutes catch up. So there are not long meetings like 1 hour or 2 hour meetings. It's just 15 minutes daily catch up to discuss 3 things. What any particular person has done yesterday, what he is going to do today. Is there any impediment for his work where Scrum Master or any other team member can be any help to resolve that? Top to bottom approach, as we discussed, that is not only Agile, any implementation, any transition in a company can be successful when it will come from top to bottom. So convincing the management is initial challenge, I will say, in Agile setup, but yes, it's successful in an organization when it comes from top. When your management is convinced, the team will slowly get convinced. They will change their mindset. But if management is not convinced, I will say there are very less chances for the Agile success. So that's all from my side. So please let me know what all questions you are having right now, where I will be any help to remove those impediments in your thought process. Any other query, anybody, about the business analyst or Agile setup or in a company, how Agile transition happened? So it's a nice question, Soumya. So any tool in the market which we have to learn for BA activity. So I will say, Soumya, all the tools who available for Agile in the market, they have specific action items. All the tools are having specific action items for a BA. So if you will take TFS, Team Foundation Server from Microsoft, that is a wonderful tool Microsoft has for Agile. Jira we are having for Atlassian. These are I will say the market leaders in terms of Agile tools. But from a BA perspective, specifically, I will say both the tools are having the capabilities to satisfy a BA role. So it's not the tool actually for BA. I will say it's A BA should know what all things need to be maintained, like product backlog he need to maintain, where he need to update the stories and all. So means all the available agile tools are having, something for BA. It's not any specific tool. We still have 5 minutes if there is any query. So nobody is asking any questions. So I will tell you one of the incident I experienced. So I was having a discussion with one Chennai-based medical company. The CTO, with their CTO, I was having the discussion, and their CTO was in US. So he was asking me, Amit, why it happened that they are following actually Agile. And he was asking Amit why it happened, like when we have our Scrum meetings. So we have distributed teams, but nobody from India team ask any question. So we expect that people are more communicative. They clarify their doubts. So I told him, like, this is our educational system. We are little shy. Nothing more than that. In India, people are very smart, but it's our educational system which may make us shy to ask the question. Okay, there is one question: do the testing team refer the use cases for testing written by BA? Okay, so this is a nice question. So I will tell you, Soumya, in Agile setup, so there, like in any development, there are phases of testing. So testing team generally maintain their own test cases, and this user acceptance test which BA generally make, he is having his own criteria. Yes, the testing team refer those test cases, but they create their own test cases, because when testing team create the test cases, those test cases justify the technical codability or technical checking of the written code, not only satisfying the business requirement, they also need to check few other things like data integrity checks are there, the code is justifying some case condition and all. So testing team, I will say, they do test different criteria, but as a user acceptance test, there is one motive only, that whether these deliverables are the right fitment for the user requirement. Am I given the answer to your question? Cool. Thanks, Manisha. So I think that's it for today. So Abhishek, if you have something before we will sign off.
No, I just want to thank everyone. Thanks, Amit, and thanks all the participants. It was good to have you. Thank you very much.
Thanks everybody.